I'm Cody, and I have debt.
I'm Nina, and I have debt.
My name is Cedric, and I have debt.
I'm Christina, and I have debt.
I'm Tonya Rapley, and I have debt. So we're gonna dig deeper into debt, and we're gonna do something that is unthinkable. And that is, we're gonna guess each other's debt amount.
Be easy on me.
Can you feel that this episode is already going a little different?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so who's gonna be bold enough to guess first the highest amount of debt you think I've had?
Just by the clues, I heard divorce. I heard something about a kid's tuition. I know that you put a lot into your appearance, so. So I'm gonna say about 100K.
Say I spend money without saying I spend money, okay.
I'll say about 80,000.
I was gonna say 131.
Somewhere near 100,000.
So the closest person is Christina.
Oh.
But when it comes to consumer debt, whether that's personal loans, credit cards, the most I've had is 76,000. So you were close. And that came as a result of my divorce. That is the most that I've had, and it was because I was actually renovating a home and became a single income household and was an entrepreneur. When I started my journey, I was like, I don't know how anyone could have more than $10,000 worth of debt.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I don't know how anyone could have more than $30,000 worth of debt,
Yes.
you know? As your life changes, you start to understand, you become more empathetic. So life happens, but you can still smile, you can still work through it, you can figure out your plan and everything else. So who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
20,000.
60,000.
27,000.
Wow, you good. I am at about 25, and it all is based on student loans and about 7 credit cards. You know, I was like, okay, I'll pay that credit card later. You know, let me focus on this. I'll pay it later. You know, it's just building and building. Those late fees, they charge you $35 a late fee when you only spent, you know, $60 at the grocery store. And the worst thing is taking out the student loans, and I never got to finish college. So it's like, what was this debt and what was this all about, you know? I just felt like it was for nothing.
Let's guess Nina's debt.
I'm gonna go back to around 35.
37.
Say about 20,000.
Okay, Christina's got it. 45,000 with my student loans. I started 1 degree, switched, and I'm currently starting a master's. But my credit cards, I think the highest ever was 5,000 or 6,000.
Has the business lent to any of it at all, or?
I don't have a lot of business debt because I do a lot of make to order things.
Okay.
Like I'm a handmade creator, so I try and go into markets with the little batches I have.
Wise. That's wise. We're guessing, Cody.
I'm gonna say 25,000.
We're at about 55,000.
80,000.
Currently, it's probably closest to the 55. Biggest chunk of it being student loans. And then I recently had to get a new car, so that one's now piled on, but yeah.
Okay, now it's time for us to guess Cedric's.
South Florida's expensive, 50,000.
Stick right around that 35 mark.
65,000.
Okay. Christina is the closest.
Christina, you know debt.
Started off with student loan debt, which is about 20,000 now. So I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then the business brought me back into a little more debt. And then I wanted a new car.
What kind of business do you have?
A photographer.
Okay.
Yes. So that's gonna help get that debt down.
Absolutely, and that's the goal, is you use the business money, income to pay down the debt, right?
Yes. That's how it's supposed to go.
That's how it's supposed to go. You had probably one of the more traumatic experiences where they were showing up at your house.
Yeah.
Was that when you felt trapped or burdened by your debt the most?
Oh, absolutely. I would also say not being able to go to, a lot of my family's out of state. I don't want to say I can't afford it because then they're going to want to be like, oh, I'll pay. So a lot of guilt, coming up with lies of why I can't be there and just stuff like that. Just definitely like feels like trapped. Talking about my debt with strangers definitely was a little nerve inducing, but after we all kind of went around and shared our stories, the nerves slowly started to subside.
My husband and I, we do not talk about debt or our finances, unfortunately, at all. And he's always, you know, pressuring like, we have to talk about this. Let's sit down and talk about it. We get in arguments and disputes about it. But it's hard for me to say, okay, here goes my student loans and here goes this. Like, how can you help me tackle this?
I understand that. It's kind of like you're not responsible for this. So I understand that.
Getting my first apartment, they hit me with the 2 months first and last month rent because my credit score was so bad. And I didn't have, you know, $2,500 just at my disposal. So I had to live with people, and once you get that experience, you make sure that you don't have to ever do it again.
And so what was your path forward?
So giving myself a budget and then getting those people in place to like hold me accountable.
Ooh, who was on your accountability team?
My mom.
Your mom?
Yeah.
Moms will hold you accountable.
Yes, every time.
Say, I didn't care as much until I had my daughter. They say generational curses repeating, and I was like, not on my watch. We're gonna end this here and now. And so I have a 10-year-old. I think you have one. And
a 5-year-old.
5-year-old. What are ways you can teach children about debt?
And I would say start out with the concept of like money, not debt. And understanding how money works for us, understanding what a budget is. Maybe start off with a budget because debt might scare them.
So going back to school, I cannot get financial aid anymore. I'm gonna have to take out more student loans, you know?
Yeah, I understand. So it's kind of you're figuring out what to do.
Yeah, what to do. Do I go back to school and create more debt for myself and say, hey, I did it? Or do I just, take a back seat and do my own self-teaching, go from there and don't worry about, that paper that, says I did it,
You look great.
Thank you, okay. I feel good, okay. Yeah. Relief.
If debt was a person in this room, what would you say to them?
Get back. Get back, debt. Or I'm not afraid of you, debt, but I just don't want it anymore.
I would do my best to avoid debt.
You wouldn't even talk to them.
No.
You wouldn't even say anything.
No, it's nothing to say, You knew me, you don't know me anymore.
I'd probably think some, choice 4-letter words, but I think I've gotten to a point now where I feel good about this and I've learned enough where you don't have the power like you once did.
You don't scare me anymore.
Right, very much so.
You don't own me, and you don't define me or my success or how I feel about myself.
That's important. I should sit on that.
Yeah.
I am not my debt.
I am not my debt.
I am not my debt.
You are not your debt.
Hi, Cedric. We deeply appreciate you sharing your time, energy, and honesty with us today.
To take part in this important
Series on debt. So we'd like to give you
Oh, wow.